back at it again, and we got another story out of California. Yes, I said California, not California. Just like Chicago is nicknamed Chirac, California is nicknamed California. So, California never ceases to amaze me with some of the stories that come out of there. But, yeah, we got the doozy today, folks. So, like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
Reparations are not only morally justifiable, but they have the potential to address long-standing racial disparities and inequality.
The equivocal number from the 1860s for 40 acres today is $200 million for each and every African American.
California Democrats applauding the move that takes them one step closer to giving more than $1 million to each black resident, despite activists saying it's still not enough. GOP presidential candidate Larry Elder.
How much was that proposal?
Despite activists closer to giving more than $1 million to each black resident, despite activists saying it's still not enough. GOP presidential candidate Larry Elder ran for governor of California, and he joins us now. Larry, we've been talking about this story all morning long. Is this for real? Could this really happen? Could they really give reparations to black people? And
there's no way that this could happen. There's no way. This guy said $200 million. Now listen. I'm gonna make my face real big, okay? I am no fool. I will not deny a check, okay? So listen. If they actually handing out checks, y'all know where I'm gonna be. If you actually gonna give it to me, all right, cool. You know where I'm gonna be. I would love a check. We all would, okay? But let's be honest, this stuff is ridiculous. This stuff is just absolutely ridiculous. But if they gonna do ridiculous things, I mean, I might as well sign. If there's no stipulations involved, okay, there's no BS. Hey, you got to do this or you got to do that in order to, you got to, get some more of those or something, like something crazy. Or you got to do a bunch of extra stuff, then of course not. But if it's just, hey, if you're black and if you're in such and such area, all right, cool. Well, you gonna know where to find me. I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it 100. Of course, $1.2 million. I think it says. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up. 1.2 mil. Oh man. Whew. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. I'm gonna pull up for that check, but I really don't understand where they're gonna get this money from. Like it has to come from somewhere. So last time I checked, California's in a deficit. So yeah, this stuff is ridiculous. But anyway, Larry Elder, take us away, brother.
California.
Well, Rachel, thank you so much for having me. That's kind of the problem, isn't it? I ran for governor. I'm familiar with the state budget. It is $300 billion. This would be $600 billion, give or take, twice what the state budget is. There is a $20 billion deficit, and there's a $1.5 trillion, T as in Tyrannosaurus, $1.5 trillion unfunded pension liability. From where is the money going to come? They're going to have to tax people. And by the way, most people in California aren't even white. They're people of color, even if you accept the premise here. Now, reparations is the extraction of money from people who were never slave owners to be given to people who were never slaves. And California was admitted as a free state. So what the task force says is, doesn't matter. It's about mass incarceration, redlining, and over-policing.
Okay,
that allegedly explains the racial gap. Really? How do you explain the fact that the Japanese Americans have a higher household income than whites do, even though in California there were laws that forbade Japanese from owning farmland? How do you explain the fact that Chinese Americans have a higher household income than do white Americans when there were laws in the Bay Area that forbade Chinese from participating in the laundry business? There are lots of people who are discriminated
Wow.
against. You want to assign the racial gap to all of that stuff? The real gap, Rachel, that they don't talk about is a fatherlessness gap.
Yes.
When I was a kid, virtually every one of my friends had a mother and a father in the home. Now that is rare. 70% of black kids now enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother. You cannot tell me that there's more racism today than it was back in 1952 when I was born.
Yeah. No one wants
Facts. There's a fatherlessness crisis. There's a fatherless crisis. Okay. Goodness gracious. Say that 20 times fast. That was quite the tongue twister right there. But yeah, not only that, but there's an education crisis as well. People aren't educated. And I even admitted just the other day that I wasn't educated not very long ago. And, you know, I was buying into a lot of this foolishness because that's what the news and the media was telling me. And I wasn't, like I said before, I wasn't, you know, into politics enough to look into any of this stuff. And I feel like that's most of the black community. They don't care to look into this stuff, so it's just what the media tells them, and the media tells a bunch of BS, as we all know. It's a bunch of BS. Now, there's speculation as to why that is. It could have been because of something Obama signed. I want to say that was the Smith-Mund Act, which I might do a video on the Smith-Mund Act coming soon. Maybe we'll see, but definitely look into that. It's a very interesting document, or act, I should say. But yeah, it's both of those crises: fathers not being in the home, and education. Because I think if more people were educated, you would see a lot more black folks who are like me, who have just opened their eyes to the reality of the situation and realized, man, these Democrats ain't really doing anything for us. Why in the world am I voting for them? What have they done? Let me sit here and think about it. Seriously think about it. What have Democrats actually done for black people? All this hoopla and, you know, oh yeah, we're for black people, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the marching. What have they actually done, and what has changed? Nothing.
to talk about fatherlessness. No one wants to talk about the government's complicity in encouraging these kinds of arrangements and the lack of family formation. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Really quick, what is the message that this sends to black children in California?
It says that you are a victim, and this is all about buying votes. They don't care whether or not their money is there. What they want is for black people to pull that lever for Democrats like lemmings, because after all, Democrats are more likely to support reparations than Republicans. One more thing, one more discrepancy. 75%, Rachel, of black boys in California cannot read at grade proficiency. 85% of blacks in California cannot do math at grade proficiency, even though we're spending more money K through 12 than ever before. We ought to be talking about those kinds of racial disparities, but they're not.
Yeah, amen.
But yeah, we want these books in our classrooms. You know, and I've said this before, and I'm going to make this short, but I think this is being done intentionally. I think it's being done intentionally because once people are educated, and I think you see that throughout, you know, all of society at large, but, you know, because as people grow older, you know, statistics, at least as far as I remember seeing, I feel like most people, or a lot of people, turn to Republicans. When you're young, you're a Democrat. But as you grow older and you see the truth and the light, and you get out on your own, and you got bills and, you know, yada, 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 and so forth. But I mean, first off, I swear, being an adult is a scam, okay? It really is. Being an adult is a scam. I remember as a kid, like, man, I can't wait to be an adult. Man, I'm going to be driving, I have my own job, you know? Like, man, I couldn't wait. Then you're an adult and you move out on your own, and then you get hit with all them bills and Uncle Sam coming knocking, and, you know. Y'all know how it is. It's a scam. I'm telling you, it's a scam. But, you know, all seriousness, as people grow older, I feel like they tend to turn Republican. But also as people, I feel like, get more educated in terms of politics and the political landscape of things, I feel like they start to shift. And the truth of politics, they start to shift to Republicans. So I feel like this is intentional, and, you know, dumbing down the population, so to speak, because when you have that, Now, this is just me speculating. I don't have any facts to back this up, okay? This isn't misinformation, all right? I could be completely wrong on this. I could be 100% wrong on this. But I feel like when the education level is lower, you're probably and more likely going to vote Democrat. Now, I could be wrong on that. I could totally be wrong, all right? So don't hit me with no misinformation, but y'all let me know how you're feeling. Talk to me. And I don't mean just formal education either. I don't mean just formal education. I don't mean like K through 12, college, blah, blah, blah. I mean just education overall in general. That means K through 12, high school, but then also outside of that, you don't have to go to college in order to be educated. Look at somebody like Charlie Kirk. People try to rag on him because he didn't go to college. They try to get him every time, and they lose those debates every single time. But according to the left, you have to go to college in order to be, educated. I say if you go to college, you're going to be indoctrinated instead of educated. But hey, that's just me.
That. Okay, so Joe Biden has just tied his last year lowest approval rate, which was 36%. It crept up a little bit. He's now back to 36% approval, 56 disapprove. What do you make of this? And as somebody who just announced 2 weeks ago that you're running for president, what does this say for America?
And by the way, my website, elderforpresident.com, throw a little something in the tip jar. Help me get to the debate, which is in August in Milwaukee. What it says is that people feel hurt. Inflation is eating up wage growth. Gasoline prices are higher. People don't like what's going on with the borders. People feel that they're worse off than they were 2.5 years ago. It is that simple. And what I'm offering is an alternative. I think a lot of people love Donald Trump, but also fear that Donald Trump derangement syndrome is such that a lot of people would not vote for him if he walked on water. So if you like the America First agenda, you like the policies that gave us the strongest border probably in our history, but you want somebody who you think can get elected because of the swing voters that don't like Donald Trump, I'm your man.
Yeah. Well, Larry, there is competition on the right. There are people fighting and scrapping, although Donald Trump certainly has quite a large advantage. On the left, on the Democrat side, no debate. So I think that shows they're pretty satisfied with how things are going for them on the Democrat side. Well, anyway, Larry, great having you. Good luck with your race. We're going to be following it closely here.
Yeah, shout out to Larry Elder, man. Definitely somebody that... I love to hear from somebody that I've learned a lot from on this journey. You guys have witnessed the whole journey, which is the crazy part about this whole journey is it's all been documented. It's all been documented through YouTube. And I remember at the beginning of the journey, kind of being like more middling, slightly left leaning still, and then diving deeper into all of this political stuff. And I'm like, man, what in the world am I thinking? Man, hey, it's Trump, baby. There's no debate. There's no debate. Why am I considering Biden still? Like, what in the world is going on with me? What is happening? And that's all been documented. And Larry Elder was definitely one of those folks that helped pull me into the light, out of the darkness. All right. That is for sure. Larry Elder's definitely been one of those folks. So, shout out to Larry Elder. I honestly don't think he's going to win, obviously. If it weren't for Trump, I'd vote for Larry Elder. I'd like to see Larry Elder in office. I would love to see him as vice president. Maybe Larry Elder's the guy to pull some of those middling folks, to the Republican side as a vice president. Who knows? Y'all let me know in the comment section how you feeling about that. I wouldn't mind seeing it, or seeing him come back in 2028 and go toe to toe with Ron DeSantis. I would love to see that as well. I think I would vote for Larry Elder over DeSantis. Currently, yeah. I'd go Larry Elder over DeSantis. Like I said, I've still got questions on, DeSantis. Obviously, Larry Elder's never been a governor. He lost the race to Gavin. That wasn't recently. That was some years ago now. But From everything that I've heard and I've seen from him, I think he'd be great at the job. But as far as these reparations go, man, and this is the thing with reparations. As you guys see at the top of the screen, it says $1.2 million. 1.2. This is what they're proposing to give to folks. You remember that guy at the beginning? Where was he at? This guy. He said 200 million. I don't know about y'all, but the last time I checked, 1.2 and 200 million aren't even close to each other. Like they're not even in the same ballpark. I mean, it's a lot of money regardless. You know, I'll take 1.2 mil. I mean, if one of y'all well off out there and wanna send your boy a check, you know, wanna send me a care package, feel free. 1.2 mil. Hey, I'll take it. All right. Don't get it twisted. I'm not complaining. But 1.2 mil is a far cry from 200 mil. So when you hand out allegedly that 1.2 mil, what's gonna happen with the guy that said he wanted 200? Oh, he's gonna come back and still complain because it wasn't 200. So after he blows through that 1.2 mil, you know, this is hypothetical. He gonna be like, hold on, wait a minute. Y'all still owe us the money. I said 200. Oh, and then they hand him 200. That still ain't gonna be enough because the next generation gonna say, well, my grandpa had 200. Well, where's my 200? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's never going to be enough for these folks. So I think it should just be nipped in the butt in the first place. That's one thing. Second thing is what Larry Elder said in the video. You're taking money away from people who were never slave owners to give it to people who were never slaves. Like, had this been right after slaves were freed and released, you know, and we were talking about reparations, had it been back in the day, had we had, you know, the internet and all of this technology, which they didn't have back then, obviously, but if we did have that technology back then and we were in those times and we were talking about reparations, slaves just got out, you know, I just got freed, you know what I mean, hypothetically speaking, and we were talking about it, yes, I'd be all for it. But those folks are long gone. Long gone. Rest in peace to those souls, obviously. I'm not disrespecting those folks. They went through some horrible things. Obviously, we could all admit to that. But why are we giving money to folks who were never slaves and taking it away from people who were never slave owners? In what world does that make sense? I guess in California's world it makes sense. But what? Like, their grandparents weren't even slaves. What are we talking about here? This stuff is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And who's to decide what's enough? Who decides that? Who makes that call? Because clearly 1.2 million ain't enough to everybody. And he ain't the only one. I'm just saying. But y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace and love. I'm out.